Hello all and welcome to Fergi Time at fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where I'll be rating FPL teams from the community and answering your questions live in the chat every single day from now until the FPL deadline on this coming Friday, August the 13th, just 4 days away, not long left. I will be showing my latest draft at the end of the stream, so do hang around and I'll talk you through my current thinking. I'm happy with my team. Still reasonably got the same team from yesterday, but there is obviously something that's happened in the last 24 hours, which has made me just slightly think. So we'll have a talk about that in a little bit. And the emergence of both Jota and Greenwood in these first 3 games are so tempting. Anyway, my name is Fergie, and for any new watchers, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press the subscribe button, the bottom right corner on the screen, set the alerts so you don't miss any of our daily content right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. It'd be much, much appreciated. Good afternoon, everybody. Historia Films, first in the chat. Hello, Historia. Steen is there. Chris Smith. Josh Strange staying up till 1 a.m. to watch these. Josh, flipping out. That is absolute commitment. Great stuff. Ross Johnson, Chris Smith, Vasanthan, El Diablo, and it's Fergie time. It is indeed. FPL SWAT. Good afternoon, FPL SWAT. Dale Turner, Jerome Robertson, Josh Bing, Nigel Pritchard, Dan Megan, and much, much more. Dan, I think I may have your team at first for review today. Welcome one and welcome all. Just before we get into it, if you hadn't already signed up to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, what are you doing? What are you doing? There is currently a pre-season 25% discount link at the top of the description below. Members get unlimited access to all our fantasy Premier League and fantasy football tools, including Opta-Stats, comparison tools, points prediction tools, Game Week 1 team reveals from the very best FPL managers in the world, masses of fantasy football content, and basically everything you could ever need to become a better fantasy football manager and dominate your mini leagues. To have a chance to get your team featured and rated, please make sure you follow at FFH_HQ and at FFH_Fergie and post your team in the daily tweet, which goes out at 10 a.m. BST. I pick 7 or 8 drafts at random to discuss and rate. If anyone's any questions, any dilemmas, any A's or B's, post them in the chat and I'll try and answer a few the best I can. So couple of tidbits of FPL news that's happened since yesterday. The big one, obviously, well, it's not a tidbit. This is absolutely massive. There's that Andy Robertson has hurt his ankle, and he's definitely sprained it. He could even have done his ligaments or something along those lines. But we have a left back, Tsimikas, who is 4 million, who could be a starting defender for Liverpool for the opening of the season. So the big question of the day is what to do with that. I've had a little bit of a think, and do you have him instead of Trent? Do you have him with Trent? Do you just have him as a 4 million on your bench? Lots of questions there. So I've actually done just a draft, which I'll show you after, just to show what that extra money can do. Is pretty explosive. Just for example, you can upgrade any of those 6.5 or 7 midfielders up to Heung-min Son. What a midfield you could have there, but we'll have a chat about later. There's a lot of other 4 million defenders. A really good question off Thomas Marland. He's actually on my list. So Hoover for Wolves has been playing absolutely fantastic as a wing back in pre-season. The only problem is it is Wolves. They fixed down the best to start, but he's 4 million. And Marty's another one who looks like he may start. The only problem is they're trying to sign, I think they tried to sign Tarkowski, now they're on to Vestergaard, so they're absolutely desperate for a centre-back. So I'm not sure he'll play, but the comments from Brendan Rodgers after the Community Shield were that, he's absolutely fantastic, brilliant player for Leicester. I suppose another knock-on effect of these 4 million defenders is that it may cause a bit of a shift in formation, right? Because of I just said, if you take out Trent and go to Tsimikas, you can shove a lot more money up front. And a lot of the drafts that I've seen today have been a little bit more 3-5-2, 3-4-3 instead of 4-4-2, 5-3-2 and things like that. Joe Bellamy, look at that. He's popped in the chat. I'm out at the moment, so won't be able to make it today. I'll like the stream and watch it later. Hope you have a good stream. Thank you so much, Joe. That is absolute commitment. Brilliant there. Partha says, what about Duffy? Yeah, Partha, I think, Duffy, the thing is, with a 4 million defender, you can afford to take a bit of a risk, right? Because you're never going to use them anyway, really, right? Unless you're planning on starting them, you're never going to use them. They're going to sit kind of third on your bench. And I think you'd be very, very unlucky to have to use third in your bench early on in the season. And even if you do, you can't expect a lot anyway, right? We haven't had a starting 4 million midfielder now, a kind of serious option since Lundstrom, really, I don't think, even though yesterday, who was the Palace, the Palace one, I can't remember if it was Ferguson or someone like that. Anyway, we haven't had a serious option, for quite a long time. Quick question from Rajveer before we get into the drafts. Do you prefer Tony or Rodrigo? Tony all day long, nailed on penalties. Rodrigo, not nailed, not on penalties. Easy one there. Little bit of other news. Adam Armstrong looks like he might be going to Southampton. Could that be the end of Nathan Tella? Dagger to the heart. I really hope not. And Lukaku is doing his medicals today. Looks like he's going to be sorted. Looks like he's going to be a Chelsea player in the next couple of days. Just the interesting point there for me, and I was thinking that maybe I want him in my team. I think the thing with Lukaku, due to their fixtures, I won't want to captain Lukaku until probably looking at game week 7 or more, and that kind of puts me off him, right? Because if you look at the other three premiums in Salah, Bruno and Kane, they are all captaincy material in the opening game weeks. Lukaku probably isn't, maybe game week 1, but you'd be a brave person to go against Salah in game week 1. But that's just my thoughts on Lukaku early doors. Anyway, let's have a look at a draft. And first up, Dan, DJ Megsy 84. Lovely draft, Dan. I picked this up because I saw it and I was like, oosh. That looks absolutely superb. Sanchez in goals, Shaw, Trent, and what he's done, so he's got the 4 million Simicast I mentioned earlier, and he banged him straight in his team. Now, he has gone for another two 4 millioners, right? This is the risk. If you're willing to take the risk and have the 3 4 millioners, you can really, really push that money into midfield and up front, as we can see here. So this is a really good example of a team I was talking about earlier. He's gone for Leon Bailey. I'm not sure that Bailey, is maybe the best option at that price point. Personally, I think there are better ones there. Definitely Rafinha, maybe Harvey Barnes if you can stretch to it. Havertz, I've gone off Havertz a little bit, but I still think I'm not against him, right? So I still think that Havertz could do a job. Smith Rowe played yesterday, I believe, in a friendly against Spurs. Salah, Bruno, Ings, and Antonio. It just goes to show what you can do where you can spend the cash. I'm assuming, Dan, you've got a bit of money in the bank as well there, because it doesn't look like that you've spent all that cash. You can, I'm pretty sure you may be able to get up a little bit more. The ratings are coming in: 5 out of 10 from George, 6, 6.5, 8, 7.5325, Ace Pacific, 7.7, 7.5. It's the defence here I'm interested in. It's the big question of the day, and a very good point from Jerome Robinson, who says, get another playable defender and then you're good. You could switch out maybe Johnson for someone like, I don't know, Aylin or Veltman or something like that, just to be on the safe side. But I like the structure of this team. One thing I have noticed this morning is that Ivan Toney seems to have left a few drafts. Has he left your draft? Interestingly, because it means, like I say, you can shove that cash into midfield. With the emergence, said, of Greenwood and Jota and all these kind of players, Mahrez. It's much easier to get them now than it was a day or so ago. More rating: 6 out of 5, 7s, 8, 6s, 5.5 and 5. And Dan said want a wild card in game week 3. Yeah, I think if you want a wild card in game week 3, Dan, I think that's it. I'm not sure the wild card in game week 3 is the best move. Personally, I think it's a little bit early, but that's up to you, buddy. Good team anyway. I'm gonna give it a 7.74 because I like the idea. I think there's a little bit of work you could do there to make it a bit better. I wouldn't go for Bailey personally, and I would up Johnson to a 4.5 and then look what you can do there. But nice team. Let's have a look at another team. Wrong button. Let's have a look at another team. And this came in off Tyler _Burrow, and again he's gone for Simicast in the starting team. And I think this team maybe shows a little bit more of what you can do with the cash. Really, really nicely balanced 4-4-2. He didn't send in his bench, so I'm assuming his bench is not very good. But Sanchez, Shaw, Trent, Tsimikas and Soufal. I mean, boom, right? If Tsimikas starts, that looks absolutely fantastic. Fernandes, Salah, Son, and Benrahma. What a midfield! And Iheanacho and Ings up front as well. I mean, there's not much arguing there, right? With that team, it's very hard to argue, and that's the thing which Tsimikas does. I'll show you my draft later when I do it. Tsimikas down enables Son up, right? So look at that midfield. I mean, that looks absolutely fantastic team. I obviously the bench, isn't much good. George, 5.2 out of 10. George, are you mad? Luke Byrne, Fergie, who do you prefer, Antonio or Jota? It's a tough one. I've got to go for Antonio. I do think West Ham's fixtures are good. He's looked good in pre-season. He plays up. I just prefer the players I know are nailed and playing further up the pitch. I'd like Jota. I'm scared of Jota, if I'm being honest. I do think that he could do some damage. I think he's one of the few players in the league, who could, if he really goes off and he could score 2 or 3 goals. He does concern me, but I'm not going to captain him. And Greenwood is the other one I'm a bit worried about. Some feedback on Iheanacho as well, starting. That is a good question. For 7.5, you could go for Antonio, but then you are tripling up with Benrahma and Soufal. Interesting one there. I'd probably go for Antonio and someone else in midfield personally. But look at that midfield. It's just if you look at this team, incredibly strong defense, incredibly strong midfield, and lots of potential for strong up front. It is a rock solid team. I really, really like it. And Son of Sam says Wilson for Nacho, and I'll give you a 9. Hard to argue with that, really. Really good team there, Tyler Burrow. I think I'm going to give you 8.5 because you've managed to squeeze in Son, right? And we haven't seen many players who've got in Son, and Son can be so destructive, And looking at the way City defended the other day, would you be awfully surprised if Son, scored against City? I think I said this last season. It was when Son was playing more on the left, but Son tends to do well against better teams because they leave space in behind. When you play these low block teams, it's really not Son's, bag, but he always scores well against City. I think he's scored a few. I'm sure he scored, I want to say 4 or 5 goals in the last 4 or 5 games against Man City, and it's really good. But they have learned, because I know that City did nullify Spurs the last time that they played them in the Carabao Cup final, which was a bit one-sided. Chris Smith, same 11 as me, but got Antonio up front and Greenwood instead of Benrahma. And Bozidar, would love my team be rated. I get hundreds in Bozidar. I just pick 8. For anyone asking how to get your team rated, to have a chance to get your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ on Twitter, and also at FFH_Fergie. So right under my microphone here, follow the both of us. There's a tweet goes out at 10 a.m. BST every single day. Post your team, and I will, I'll just choose 7 or 8 at random just to have a discussion around. Don't post template teams, right? Because there's no point, because they are just boring going over the same sorts of players. So I like teams like this because it shows different options. Harry Tattersall, Son or Mahrez, really interesting point. Son is nailed, right? That goes without saying. Mahrez, I would guess, is probably nailed for maybe 2 out of the first 3, but just the way I play, I like to know that when the team sheets come in, my team, my players playing. Whenever Spurs team sheet comes in, Son's in, right? That's it. And it looks like, based on what we've seen in pre-season, Son is going to start up front as well. Mahrez, when the Man City team sheet comes in, if Mahrez isn't on there, you're probably, I don't know, 70% surprised, but not with Son. He's always on there, and that's it. But a really, really good team. Nice one there, Tyler. Let's have a look at another team, and this one came in from at the Kong FPL, and this team looks, I'm not sure, it looks really, really strong, and it's 5 at the back, which you haven't seen much of. I was on 5 at the back the other day. Young Thug says, "Sing us a song, Fergie. If you choose me a song, I'll give you a couple of bars." Sanchez in goals though. Trent, Luca, Dean. Okay, Dean iffy, but at 5.5, I'm sure you can spend that really well elsewhere as well. Shaw, Kufal, and Diaz. Son, Bruno, Salah, Antonio, and Tony. I mean, what a midfield. What a defence. And the strikers aren't too shabby either. Do you know what I'd be tempted to do here? I would be tempted, because you're only going with 2 Liverpool, to take Luca Dean out for Tsimikas. Take the risk, right? If he doesn't play, it doesn't matter, because you'll have a good bench, and then maybe look to get in. I would say Ings, but there's plenty around that. There's plenty around that area. Couple of 9s. Dolly 66, 9 out of 10. Jack a Potato says 9 out of 10 as well. Yeah, what a team, right? And there's also a lot of scope for improvement. Even his bench, Brownhill and Gilmore. So apparently Gilmore was on a few set pieces for Norwich yesterday, which is interesting. And Baneful says 9 at T278 Skyfall. I don't know the words to that one. I need a better one than Skyfall. But do you know, I really like this team. The only thing to point out, I think, is that the Brighton third keeper, I can't say his name, but I think he's out injured, so you probably want to put Steele in as a reserve keeper as well. Aaron S says, any idea about Lukaku's FPL price? No. I would personally guess 11 and a half. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, if you're not going to captain him in the first 6 game weeks, I think I would prefer 2 out of Kane, Bruno, and Salah for that captaincy. Wilson win. Yeah, I saw that. Wilson win. Prem teams now allowed to name 9 subs. And Dan Megan, yes, he agrees. A brilliant team. Defo Balmaldinho and spend the rest on Ings. I mean, what a team. I'm struggling at the moment to decide whether I even want Tony now, and I've had him in every single team, but I think the release of funds from Tsimikas has it just opens up all these really tempting options. Sure, Pen, appreciate it, guys. I know it started with Sure. Sure, Pen is the injured Brighton keeper, so it looks like Steele will be reserve. IB Ben says upside down Christmas tree, absolutely. And Dylan Alves, how viable is it to swap Trent with Tsimikas? I mean, clean sheet points, they'll be the same, right? So the only obvious thing with Trent in his favour now that Robertson's injured, one that he will probably be on all set pieces. He won't be sharing them with Robertson. So it's whether you run that risk of, if Trent gets an assist, you'll probably end up with an 11 or 12 pointer, whereas Tsimikas will play on 6. The only other risk with Tsimikas as well is that Milner did play left back a couple of times as well, but apparently Tsimikas has looked very good in pre-season, which is why everyone thinks he's pretty nailed. I think he's worth the risk, especially in this team, right? Because even if he doesn't play, it doesn't matter. You get a good player off the bench, so I don't think it matters. But I love this. I love this team. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think actually it's very similar to my draft, which I will show at the end of the stream, but very good. Just a note, to have a chance to get your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ and at FFH_Fergi. Post your team in a daily tweet, and I will pick out a few drafts. But lovely team you've had. You've had a lot of love here. The Kong FPL 4 years, 7.5. I think that's a bit harsh, but anyway, let's have a look at another draft, and this was from at FPL_Andy, and this looked a bit different, but again, I really like it. He's got a very nice mix. I think I like it because he's got the mixture of teams, which I always look for. I don't really like doubling up or trebling up on teams unless I really have to. He's got a really nice mixture here. So Sanchez, Trent, Soufal, and Shaw, for me, they're probably the best 3 picks at the moment. I would personally say, in defence, even though obviously the City defenders will have a bit to say there, and Creswell will have a word to say about that, I'm sure, as well. Salah, Bruno, Gundogan, Barnes, and Ben Rama. I mean, what 3 fantastic picks. Interestingly, in all these ones so far, we haven't seen any Jotas or Greenwoods, who have kind of been the 2 players at the moment who everyone is kind of after. Luke Smith, just as I typed that, asks, Greenwood or Jota? Take your pick, buddy. I mean, I looked at the stats on the Fantasy Football Hub Opta Stats tool for the last quarter of last season. Very, very similar. Greenwood, to me, is probably more likely to start the first 2 or 3 than Jota. I think Jota, he plays the first 1. Will he play in game week 2? Again, similar to a couple of other players we've mentioned. Mahrez, they're home to Burnley in game week 2. Would it be an awful shock if Firmino started ahead of Jota? I don't think so. And this, and this is the thing then. And the way that Jota is as well, he would very likely come on. So you're risking that one pointer. So I'm just on Greenwood just because I think United looked excellent against Everton the other day with all the injuries up front that United have got. Greenwood at the moment, I'm pretty hot on over Jota, but it could change. And these options in here, Gundogan, Barnes, and Benrahma, I mean, all fantastic options. I haven't got any argument against any of them. And I also like then he's gone for Ings and Bangford over Antonio because he's mixed the teams up there. I mean, what a team, right? He's also got Shimakash on the bench, which is what I mentioned earlier, and Amati. So he's got some nice cover on his bench because you would think that one or the other would play. The more I'm looking at this, the more I'm liking it. He hasn't got Tony, which is something which I'm a bit a bit thing with not having Tony due to his ownership and due to the fact that he's such a prolific goal scorer. But it's hard to argue with that team. He's got Amati as well, and Obafemi. It looks like Obafemi might be off to Blackburn, so you may want to take a look at that, Joe, and just make sure you've got anyone who's still with a Premier League club at 4.5. George says Gundogan, defensive midfielder, not a good pick. The only good pick is Barnes. I would argue, George, just a little bit and say that if Gundogan's free kick would have gone in against Leicester last week, it was an excellent save. If it would have gone in Community Shield, the way how fickle we all are, I would guess that a lot more teams would have Gundogan in, and that's what I like about the eye test is he was on all set pieces. And he took that direct free kick and he very, very nearly scored. So because he didn't score any points, I preferred Gundogan over Mahrez, Torres, and everyone else in the Shield. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but this is why I like the eye test to accompany stats, is because Gundogan for me was probably the most dangerous player in that game. Edwardinho asks about what's going on with this Benrahma bandwagon. I just think Edwardinho, he's just had an excellent pre-season, and I don't know if you've seen the video that's going around on social media where Antonio is bigging him up. He's giving him the old, he's been on fire. I think you don't do that unless someone has been on fire. So for 6 million, I think he could be a really good option. Colin Burke, Mahrez or Son for me, just because he's nailed to start playing up front. Probably on pens if Kane is not there as well. Mahrez, as I say, will likely play 2 of the 3. I'm not sure he'll play them all. Let's take a look at another draft, and this is from @TMB56. Lovely cropped team with cash in the bank on there as well. Just a bit of a hint there. And again, I really like this team. Different sort of team in terms of players. Sanchez, Van Dijk. He played at Anfield, I believe, yesterday or the day before. I wouldn't be surprised if Van Dijk starts the season. Shaw and Creswell. I think Creswell is at least a good an option as anyone else in that range at the moment. Bertrand is the one. He's on my list. Bertrand. He's such a tempter. To get in, Bertrand, because at the moment he's on all set pieces, and he's playing for left back for a top 4 or 5 team with very, very good fixtures. Bertrand is the one I'm looking at, but I've got the those who know me know I've got this thing of just going for this risk with the hope it pays off. Ezo says 4 out of 10. Ezo, you're off your head. Sorry, son, you're having a laugh there. In midfield, Salah, Greenwood, Benrahma, and Jota. So he's gone for the double up there on Greenwood and Jota, and Vardy and Ings. So I'm assuming that Vardy is not a bad pick, right? I thought he nearly scored against City again. It's one of those things that if he would have scored the winner and got all the headlines, I think Vardy would be in. He was so unlucky not to score. Incredible save by Stefan to keep him out just on half time. Mesley on the bench. I wouldn't have a 5 and a 4.5. It's up to you, right? But if you're playing rotating keepers, you're asking for headaches and regret and pain there. Personally, think Mopai and Bissouma. I don't understand this love with Mopai. I may be proven wrong, but they're better options there. And Chambers lost his place. Well, I say lost his place. He didn't play yesterday for Arsenal, so I keep an eye on that because Bellerin started. I like the Vardy price there because it means he can get to Kane, Lukaku, or Bruno in a couple of moves, maybe with a -4. That's the only thing. And he has got $500,000 in the bank, so I don't mind it. I love the Bertrand pick. Bertrand he's one I'm so tempted to go with. If he was 4.5, he would be absolutely nailed in my team. But the fact that he's 5 just lends a little bit of risk. But I'm very, very tempted by Bertrand. Kind of Digne down to Bertrand, or maybe upgrade, or we'll have a look at my draft in a minute, and we will see. Let's have a look at another draft, and this is off Eric 81965353, and again a very a different looking team in terms of players. Pickford in goals. I gotta be honest. I would either go. I'm just stuck on Sanchez or Martinez personally, one or the other. If you want to spend a bit more, I'd go for Martinez. Dunk at the back. So Dunk was very, very popular a month or so ago. He's kind of gone off the burners at the moment. He did have an injury, so he left a lot of teams. But he's back and fit. I think Webster and Veltman are there. Are there as well. I think the only injured player at the moment is Dan Burn, who's done his ligament, so he's going to be out for a while. But I can't argue with Dunk at a pick at 5 million. Yaga 3.5, harsh. And John says, Ferg, I know we love your lovely Welsh accent, but Meslier is pronounced without saying the S. Meslier, that is Welsh. Anyway, midfield, Son, Mahrez, Salah, Barnes, Benrahma. 5 fantastic picks. I have no argument with those whatsoever. I mean, look at that for a 5. And he's also got Ings and Wilson. And this Shimicast, this 4 million has allowed him to do it. And he's also got Alien as a safety net. And then Obafemi. Do you know what? I like this team. There's points in this team. My goodness, I like it. I would personally change out Dunk for Soufal, I think. And I would probably change Pickford out as well for Sanchez. And it also gives you $500,000. Do you know what? Oosh. It's hard to argue. It doesn't have Bruno, and is no really easy way to one of the really expensive premiums. Even though you can downgrade Son or Mahrez and upgrade a striker, but this is really nice. Not getting much love in the chat though. Marcus 4.5, Junkie 8, Son of Sam 8, Foyez 6, Samuel 6, Matthew 7 out of 20. Wow, okay. Pokash 5. Yaga says 9. Take a Pickford. It's 9.75. Ezo says 9 out of 10. And Louis B says it's Melia. Bruno can do something special. Lukaku passed main part of medical. And yes, 7 out of 10 there. I like it as a structure. I think it looks apt. There's goals there, right? I mean, look at that front 7. My goodness. And you've also got Trent and Shaw. And you can have Soufal as well. This is one of my favourite teams I've seen so far. I think... I know it's got no Bruno, right? I would personally probably go Mahrez to maybe Greenwood, just so you've got a bit of coverage for United. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm sorry everyone. I'm gonna upset a lot of people, but I think 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic team. And because he got Son and Mahrez, he has got away to a premium as well quite quickly. So, boom, Eric. I think this is a very, very nice team. Many congratulations. Ross Johnson, a Welshman deep in the valleys trying to pronounce a Frenchman's name, has made my day. I absolutely got no chance. It'd be the same as a Frenchman, trying to say Planetly or something along those lines, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely hilarious. John, my rating is 54.78 out of 100. Could you be more specific, please, John? That's not specific enough. Fred Jones, 9.5. Moha Wilson to Bamford, James Campamba Lopez. Solid team, absolutely. Fantastic team. Really good team. Let's have a look at another draft. This came in off FPL Slightly, who cropped his image and added his handle on as well. Hint, hint. And look at this team. This was one I picked up as well, because when you look at it, I was like, oosh. I like this team as well. Sanchez in goals. What a back four. It's probably one of the most attacking and exciting and best back fours you could have, if not the. So I think that back four is probably the best back four you could have in terms of over a season, right? He's not going to have to make a transfer there in defence for quite a while. Chilwell, Shaw, Trent and Cancelo. Boom. There it is goals, assists, clean sheets. There's everything there. That is absolutely superb. He's got Sal. He's got Greenwood in place of Bruno as the cover there. He's also got Soufal on the bench. I mean, wow, that is awesome. He's gone for Mahrez and Benrahma, and he's got Antonio and Ings, and he's also got on his bench Soufal and Rafinha. And I think Tyler Burrow asks quite rightly, is that 100 million? Because it looks more, but he hasn't got the second premium, so it probably is, because he's not shelling out on Bruno. So Eduardinho 8.8, George 5.89, Kieran says 7, and Igaga 7.73. I think it's quite harsh. I think it's a bloody good team. I think it's fantastic. Doesn't have Bruno, but then well, I say that if you don't pick Bruno and he scores in game week 1, you'd be crying. But I really like it. The only thing I'm maybe not keen on, Benrahma and Antonio. Personally, I prefer one. But you could, yeah. Well, I think this is 8.83. Because of the double up, and also there's no massive easy way to a second premium, but and there's cash on your bench as well. Faris agrees, bench too expensive. 5.4, Alex McLean 9, Foyers 8, Tyler Burrow 8.8, Baneful. There's lots of 9s and 8s and 7s. Everyone likes it. Good stuff. If you are enjoying the stream so far, I would really, really appreciate it if you could just press the like button. It would be absolutely fantastic if you are enjoying the stream so far. I think we just got a couple more drafts left, then we'll get onto my team. Connor M, do you think Bruno is a necessity? That's the question, right? This is the question. Bruno or Fernandes, I think, is the question. It's so tough. You're not going to captain in game week 1 or game week 2 because of Salah. Game week 3, I think you could. I can't remember who United's got in game week 3. Let me just check. They've got Wolves away, but I think Antonio's got has got a nice game. Leicester have got a nice game as well. And some of the players. But in game week 4, they're home to Newcastle. But do you need someone you're not going to captain for 3 game weeks? I don't know. And this is everyone's individual choice. And this is why I like looking at different teams, because it shows people what we can do if we go without players or go with players. This is why I don't like looking at the same teams all the time, because look at this team. I mean, all round absolutely fantastic. Just to answer Lax's question, Lax, if you want to send in your team, follow at FFH_HQ and at FFH_Fergi. Tweet goes out every morning. Stick it in there. If you carry on spamming, I'll block you. And Sibo Slice in the chat. Cheers, Fergie. I mean, I got no argument there, buddy. I think that's a really, really nice team. You've just got no fast way to Kane, for example, right? But, if the rest of your team gets you points, superb. Quick question off Kyle Anthony. Thoughts on Jota and Greenwood alongside Salah and Fernandes? I did do a draft with that this morning. I had to downgrade Trent to Simicast to do it, but it's very sexy. I'm not going to... I can't argue. Damien Russo, thoughts on Target? I think Target's a really good pick. I think he is. And I was a bit concerned because he hadn't played much in pre-season, but he did start their last game. So I do think he starts. I think Target at 5 million is a really good option. Tom Hartnell, just having a tea break. Thoughts on Son for FPL? I mean, if you can afford him, right, and you don't compromise anywhere else, I mean, he's a good option, right? I mean, he's probably a premium player at non-premium price. It's just so hard to get him in without, if you Salah, Bruno, Kane. I feel like I'm, repeat myself a little bit, but if you can squeeze in Son, I'd get him in, playing at front on penalties to start the season anyway. Tyler Burrow, surely Klopp would pay 25 million left back over James Milner, you would think. And he's had a good I think that's important. He has had a good pre-season. Simicast, he's played a few games. And George Carra, opinion on about 4-4-2. Love it. I haven't got any... I don't think formation is massively important. It all depends on what player you can get, right? So, if you're comparing Chilwell against Benrahma against Tony, that's, and you just choose your one is the favourite, and that's your formation. I don't think the formation is massively important. Being flexible is important, and having the players you want is important. There is no right or wrongs, and don't let anyone tell you that any different, because if we knew the answers, we would win FPL, right? Let's have a look at another team, and this is at TTH_69. And again, a really nice looking team. It's five at the back. He's got Martinez at the back, where I really like. He's doubled up with Mings. Right? I'm not massively keen on Mings. I think I would prefer either Target or Cash in Mings' spot. But Trent, Wan-Bissaka is different over Shaw. You can't really argue. Even though Shaw, is on set pieces, I think Shaw is the better option, but Wan-Bissaka, is a really good option too. Sufal and Cancelo, rock solid back five there. Bruno, Salah and Jota, nice team, and Antonio and Ings. And this is another team. Have we seen Tony in any of these drafts? It's completely incidental, but people look like they are taking out Tony, which is really interesting, because he was pretty much a staple in everyone's team because of his ownership, and also because, he looks a really good option. Was it 31 goals and 10 assists last season and 9 penalties? Harrison, don't spam. I'll answer. I would go for Ben Rama in game week 1 purely because Buendia looks like he's got a knock, but I do think that Buendia could be. I think he's a great option moving forward. I think if you go for Benrahma, it also gives you a chance to see where Buendia fits in, because if you pick Buendia and he's playing more centrally than advanced, then you've got the right choice. If not, it's just an easy switch. So I would say that. Bench on this team: Bissouma, Brownhill, and Obafemi. Cheapest chips. I'd probably go for Gilmore ahead of Bissouma. Apparently, he was on some set pieces yesterday. No, Tony. He's taken a hike in everyone's team. This is what everyone is saying, that Tony seems no more. Not really sure why. I think that people just realizing what you can do with the money. He's in my team at the moment still, but again, I have had a bit of a play and look at. I wonder if it's because there are midfielders and that have emerged, players like Benrahma, maybe Barnes, maybe people like this. It is interesting. At how quickly things move in FPL, like even every day, right? Sometimes I come on live and I think, is there going to be much to talk about? It's tough to talk about every single day, right? More than enough stuff to talk about every single day. And we're back to the start. So what I'm going to do, just to say to everyone, to have a chance to get your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ on Twitter and at FFH_Fergie. Post your team in the daily tweet, which goes out at 10 a.m. BST, and I will pick 7 or 8, very interesting looking teams to take a look at. Don't post rubbish, because I won't choose them, and don't post the complete template team, because there's no point in talking about those. Okay, we'll take a look at my team now. So I've still got my team from yesterday. I haven't really changed my team from yesterday. So for those who've seen it, but I have done a small draft whereby I've had a look at what I can do if I change Trent down to Tsimikas, and I also had a look to see if I put Tsimikas in as the 5th mid, what that would do as well. I haven't got on here, but I will definitely be doing that overnight, and I'm going to certainly have a look. It's really interesting. The press conferences on Friday, right, are going to be absolutely mega, because if Klopp confirms, yep, of course, Tsimikas will play. Excuse my dreadful German accent. It's almost as good as my French accent for when I say Meslier. But yeah, I mean, 4 million starting left back. He's very attacking as well, as a thing. He's not just a 4 million player playing for a top team. He's also very attacking as well. So he's a really intriguing option. I think there is a video actually on this channel if you do want to have a look at it. Will posted it this morning around whether we should have Tsimikas, a full video on it. And I think Will seems to think that he may be essential, but we will, the coming days, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more on tomorrow's stream. Let's have a look at my draft. So this is the team which I posted yesterday. I really like it, right? So Sanchez, Cancelo, Shaw, Trent, and Soufal with the 4 million defender at the moment, straight away I'll obviously be changing Omama Madeli for Tsimikas, whatever happens, right? It's how that kind of affects my kind of wider team. I know Tsimikas is Greek. I was trying to do a Klopp accent. That's what I was doing. I wasn't trying to I couldn't do a Greek. I can't do any accents. Give me an accent to do, and I will try and do one. I'll try and do one. Midfield 3 at the moment of Bruno, Salah, and Greenwood. There's so many fantastic options, right? In that midfield spot. I would love Jota. I would love Barnes. I would love Benrahma. I would love Gundogan. And they're just ones off top of my head, right? But at the moment, I've gone for Greenwood. He played against Everton, scored, looked good. I think he's guaranteed to start the first 2 or 3 games. He's fit as a fiddle as well, right? Like I've said, when United had a triple game week at the end of last season, he's the only player I think in the whole team who played minutes in all 3, fit as a fiddle. Eduardinho says, great team. And a couple of accents. Faris Lecher says Dutch. I'm not really sure how to do a Dutch accent. Maybe this isn't too bad. And Idris asked me to do an Australian one, so I'll go through my attack in Australia. Well, we got Danny Ings at front, mate, along with Ivan Toney and Michael Antonio. So that's my front 3. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. I can't do a South African one. I end up sounding Australian, but that's my first 11. Foster, Teller. I've still got Teller there. Even though now that it looks like Southampton might be saying Armstrong, Teller may take a dive down to a 4.5, or if I choose to downgrade someone to fit Tsimikas in, he could actually move up. And while we're on that subject, I've done it again. While we're on that subject, let's have a look at the team. We can just do so. This is just a very, very small change. Everyone laughing at my accents. That's not too bad. Why has everyone asked me to do a Welsh accent? I am bloody Welsh. So we've got the only change I've done. So if you look at the change between the 2 teams here, all I've switched out Alexander-Arnold and Greenwood for Tsimikas. But look what you can afford in midfield, Son, and there's also $1 million in the bank as well. This is what interests me here. Tsimikas and Son against Trent and Greenwood. So that just goes to show what you can do. The Dutch one sounded like Sean Connery. Absolutely, Miss Moneypenny. So that's my thinking at the moment. I like Greenwood, Jota. Cancelo's the one who would probably, if it was anyone to be a bit of a fall guy, it would be him. I'm not sure whether I think, whether because I think that is the best option, or whether just because he's low owned. And that's what I'm trying to decide in my head. I love the idea of having Cancelo in my team, ahead of game week 2, and questioning, around Cancelo against Diaz as well. Diaz for safety, security, longevity, Cancelo for potential explosive points, right? So I can't do a Russian accent. Sorry, Zayan, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't do it justice. So they're my teams at the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. BST, and I'll be back every single day right up until the coming deadline on Friday, August the 13th. Running through drafts, answering questions, showing you my current draft and thinking. If you enjoyed, I would really, really appreciate it if you could press the like button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, and drop me a follow on at FFH_Fergi. I will be producing loads and loads of FPL and wider fantasy football content throughout the whole season. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. For those of you who don't know, our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for Fantasy Premier League and fantasy football all under one roof. If you haven't gone to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, you are missing out. We've got everything covered and more for fantasy football. Player comparison tools, fixture ticker, Opta stats, team reveals, the best player tips, everything you can ever imagine, all written and produced by the very, very best fantasy managers in the game. People like, FPL General, Abdul, Heisenberg, Matthew Jones, Rich Clark. I'm sure I'm going to miss some. Loads more for all the fantasy games, giving you all their hints, tips, and everything else. To join the tens of thousands of other fantasy managers, sign up to the Hub using all our amazing resources. Click the top link in the description below. There's currently a 25% discount off. It'll cost you £18 for the year, and you get unlimited access to absolutely everything for £1.50 a month. I mean, it's crazy, right? But it's a really good offer. And Louis B, if that's right, breaking news: Kane's available versus City, according to oh my goodness, that's gonna open up a can of worms if that's the case. I'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. BST, rating more teams, answering your questions. I will see you all then. Goodbye for now.